My name is Thorsten Radde. I'm from Germany and I run the world rankings for the PTO based on the data that I collect for my website, tryrating.com, where I analyze races, performances, and kind of assign the points for the world rankings and calculate them on an ongoing basis. Because of the corona restriction, the limit of 40 pro athletes starting, 24 men, 16 women. The way they're doing it is the swim will be in a pool, so they have 3 men per lane, and then once they're out, it'll be 2 women per lane. It's happening at a so-called secret location at this point because they don't want to have any spectators on the course, possibly causing any problems with their COVID restrictions. The interesting thing is it's a return to pro racing for the Germans, and with a field that is really awesome to see. Some internationals making the race even more interesting, and just Olympic distance race, bringing together the best of long distance and short distance racers. The dynamics will be really interesting because you have the long course athletes, established ones, Peter Hemmerich, a bunch of the German long distance, Boris Stein, Nils Frommholt, but also a bunch of short course athletes that are younger, that are probably going to be really interested in mixing up the race. You've got a strong bike racer like Ruben Sepuntke, who's going to make things interesting on the bike. The race dynamics will be super interesting. There's extra bonuses for the fastest swimmer bikers. So those that maybe don't have a good chance for an overall performance will look to maximize their performance in a single leg. So overall, it's going to be a super interesting, awesome race on Sunday. Of course, the 2 internationals are there to really place well and make things interesting on Sunday. First of all, it's Peter Hemmerich, who's had a lot of success over the half distance in the last couple of years. And then we have Gustav Iden from Norway, who's the 70.3 world champion. The German ones will want to show them that they're still king in their home country. Established athletes over the long distance, Boris Stein, Nils Frommholt, Michi Rehla, there's just so many names we could mention, but then also interesting short course athletes, those kinds of athletes that are just coming from the short distance and will want to show the established long course athletes that they still have the speed to really tackle them and take them over the Olympic distance. A couple of names to highlight would be Lucy Hall, who's likely going to be the first woman out of the water leading the race after the swim. But she's done that in Helvellyn as well, and then struggled a bit more on the bike, and I think mainly on the run. So we'll see how long she can hold on to the lead. I expect the 2 other main contenders take over from her on the bike, and that would be Immo Simmons from Switzerland, England. She's a globetrotter. I think she's racing for Switzerland now. And Lisa Norden. Lisa was the silver medalist in London in the 2012 games. She's been moving into cycling. She's been struggling with some injuries, so her run is not quite at the level that it was in London. But overall, I think she's fit and healthy. She's won the 70.3 in Gdynia 2 weeks ago. So she seems to be in good form, and she would be one of my 2 top picks for this race. Main athletes to watch for this weekend would be, I think both of them are the top placed PTO athletes in the world rankings at this point in the field. So that's Peter Hemmerich on the men's side and Immo Simmons on the female side. Both of them will be in the mix for the win. Both of them will be slightly behind after the swim, make up some time on the bike, and then hopefully be able to run well and then maybe get to the front there. On the men's side, my main pick is Peter Hemmerich for the win. I think he's the overall strongest athlete, has been racing well this year. And then the 2 others on the podium, I guess, will be German athletes. I don't see Gustav quite in that shape to make it onto the podium. So the podium picks from my side would be Simon Henseleit, who's been racing well this year as a shortcut athlete. And I guess Frederik Funk as well, as one of those that is still racing really short, really fast. The order between these 3, well, I'll just give it to Peter and see where that comes up. The female side predictions are going to be a bit more international. I think it's going to be a race between Immo and Lisa, And if Immo is in decent shape, I see Immo just a step ahead of Lisa because she's a bit more even in all three legs. But if Lisa has found her run legs in the last couple of weeks, she will sure make the race really, really interesting. Third place is a bit harder. I don't know if Lucy Hall is going to be able to hold on to her good position. I think I'll just have to pick some German athlete, and I would go with Anne Reichmann for that one. Weather conditions will be pretty stable, but of course it's a bit of an unusual setup with having a pool swim, having a non-drafting bike leg, and then a 10K. That's something that not a lot of people will have ever done before. And the mix of short course, long course, that'll be interesting dynamics. And it'll also be a chance for those athletes that maybe I don't have in my database quite yet because they haven't raced longer distance races and are younger, to show what they're capable of. And they will certainly want to impress, even if it's just in one leg. So these are my thoughts about the race for the weekend. Please tune in either to the Pushing Limits coverage on YouTube if your German is somewhat adequate, or follow us on Twitter at the Pro Tri Hour Kendall.